Welcome to the Wholesaling Inc. podcast, America's #1 podcast for new real estate investors, where we know that finding discounted property is the most proven path to financial freedom. My name is Brent Daniels, Mr. TTP, Mr. Talk to People, and I am telling you this: if I can do this business, so can you. So let's get started, guys. This is one that you need to get off the treadmill. You need to pull over the car. You need to take this podcast conversation seriously, because this is going to make you an absolute fortune. I've got the owner of Property Leads, which is a PPL company. And PPL has been exploding recently, and there's a reason for it, and we're going to get into that. Andy Kalaji, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Brent. Appreciate being here. Excited to talk.
Let's rock and roll. So, Paper Lead, what is it?
Paper Lead Paper Lead is where there's no sign-up fees, there's no subscription costs. You're only paying for the lead. When the lead comes in, it gets delivered to you. We're doing a ton of marketing, SEO, PPC, and everything under the sun. Mm-hmm. It's a really good fit for somebody who needs flexibility in their marketing, so they can turn it off at 5 p.m. or turn it on at 5 p.m. when they get home from work. They want to just buy leads on the weekends, and maybe they're just getting into real estate investing, or maybe they're a really professional real estate investor. They do a ton of marketing. They just want to add another layer of marketing into their business.
These are internet leads.
Internet leads, all inbound.
So how do they come to you?
So we started.
I mean, I know, because I just had 20 leads in the last. I turned it on last Thursday.
Okay.
It's now Wednesday. 6 days, 20 leads.
Wow.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
In Maricopa County, which is one of the most competitive counties.
Okay.
And we've already got a few appointments.
Awesome.
And I love it.
Love it.
Now, these, and we'll get into the cost, we'll get into the strategies and the best practices, and it's going to be really great. But explain to people, when somebody fills out the information on one of your sites, how do they get the lead?
When you say how they get the lead,
yeah, how do the wholesalers, how do the investors get the lead? Is it a text message? Is it an email?
Gotcha.
Is it somebody calling them? What happens?
100%. Great question.
Yeah.
So inside the Property Lead system, or inside a lot of PPL systems, there's like an update delivery methods button. And inside that button, you can add an email, you can add a phone, or you can add a webhook. That webhook can go directly to your CRM or Zapier or whatever system you want to use. If it gets delivered to your phone, it's instantaneous. Same thing with email.
So the lead comes in, boom. It's right in
your inbox.
Text message.
Yep.
Phone number, address, what?
Phone number, address, email. And then if you get it via email as well, there's a lot more information typically. Maybe like the condition of the property, what repairs are needed. Maybe if it came in from an inbound phone call and we have a bunch of notes, we'll give you that information. And then, the reason for selling is typically there as well. Maybe it's inheritance. Maybe it's just relocating.
You know what I love about these leads?
What?
I can get refunded if they're listed.
Okay.
If they're the information's not real. There's a whole list. What are there's like a drop down in Property Leads that has boom, 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 all these different reasons that you would give a refund for a bad lead.
Yes, there's a 7-day refund policy, and we consider everything basically refundable if it's on an actionable single-family lead that you really can't get in contact with. So if they're not selling their house, if you can't get in contact with them, if it's a mobile home in a park, it's a wholesaler, it's listed on the MLS, you really can't do anything with the lead, we're going to be refunding that lead. That doesn't mean that every lead's an opportunity that you're going to get a transaction on, you're going to make a ton of money on. But we like to make sure that you at least have an opportunity to make money. You at least have an opportunity to have a conversation with a seller who has an intent to sell via an inbound conversation.
Love it.
Love it.
And what you set a specific budget? Like, say somebody's getting started and they're like, listen, I don't have a lot of money for this. I only have $500. I only have $1,000 a month. I only have $5,000 a month. You set a budget and then you just send leads. Leads come in until the budget runs out?
Yeah, so we use a calendar month for the budget. You can set your budget as low as $250 a month. You can set it as high as $1 million a month. And we'll only send leads as long as it stays within that budget. If you refund a lead, we'll continue to send you a new lead if it's approved and stuff, so you're still always getting into that budget area. And we encourage you to use the budget. We encourage you to not to overspend, because the game for all of us is to make sure that you're being successful as a real estate investor. You're not you're not getting FOMO,
Yep.
bidding too much for your leads. You're focused on a really tight cash conversion cycle and a really good ability to not stay in business effectively.
Well, and that's what I want to talk about. So lead comes in today.
Mm-hmm.
When typically does it close? What is the sales cycle?
We typically see it about in a 3-month time period, about a third of the leads post refund that come in end up transferring title or selling their home. That could be a combination of on market and off market.
Mm-hmm.
And then within a 6-month time period, it seems to taper out about 50%. Again, that doesn't mean you're going to close 1 and 2 within 6 months. All it means is that there's 50% of the leads that you get post refund should be transferring title in some form.
Post refund means they're good leads.
They're good leads. That means if
leads that you didn't get refunded based on the criteria.
100%.
So I could see some people abusing this and going, "Oh, every lead that I don't close should be a refund."
Yeah, we see that all the time. And we got a refund yesterday where someone said, "Oh, I can't buy this house because there's no drywall in it."
What?
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I was like, "Wait, what?" That's a very actionable.
Give me that.
I
lead.
know. Yeah. So everybody, every individual has different requirements inside their buy box and stuff, and so we try to be as flexible as we can, but we have to be realistic that not every lead's a banger, not every lead's going to be a deal, but we try to make sure that everything is actionable. You could take an action on that lead, you could do something with it if you knew how to do something with it.
Love it. And so, the interesting thing also is, and we were talking about this before we started, because I was saying that it is absolutely critical that when a lead comes in, you have to call them within a minute.
Yeah.
Literally 1 minute, 60 seconds, you have to call that lead. We have watched in our own business, if it's 5 minutes, the ability to get them on the phone goes down dramatically. If it's
100%.
1 minute, we're like 80% that we get them on the phone, right? Sometimes they're doing stuff and they're like text us or whatever else, and that's fine. But if we get in within a minute, and we track it, we put it on this literal board on Fridays, turns into our scoreboard, this LED wall that I have here, and we track how fast did we respond to those leads and the percentage of contact rate based on that. And I'm telling you, if it has to be a minute. So I was saying, for people that are part-time, people just getting started, it's really difficult to set this up. And you said, well, you have people that are just turning it on as soon as they get home from work and until they, whatever, are starting to get ready for bed, or they just turn it on the weekends, and they understand if they get that text message, it's money time. It's go time.
100%. There's a lot of people who, they work a job in an office and they can't be taking calls from a seller during the day, very respectfully, right? And so they'll get home at 5 p.m., they'll turn on their account, they'll work leads as much as they can overnight, they'll turn off their account at 9 a.m. before they go to work that next morning, and then they'll turn on their account on the weekends.
Yeah.
And a really big benefit of that, too, is that lead costs tend to be cheaper on the weekends and overnight, because the big guys who have these huge sales teams and they only want to buy leads from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., when they're soaking up all the big budget, they turn off at 5 p.m. local time. So once you start buying leads at 5 p.m., lead costs can be a lot cheaper. I wouldn't bid the top amount around that time.
Makes total sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you also, there's also Call Porter, and we were talking about that. Call Porter is another resource that the leads come in and they'll call them instantly,
100%.
right? And so, great company. I used them back in the day for direct mail, and it was probably just my systems that didn't work with it, but they've been really improving a lot of things. I was mentioning I used them back in 2018. But they seem to have really things clicking right now, and they'll take those inbound, they'll ask the right questions, and then just send you the lead after they talk to them.
Yeah, they've done a really good job.
So that's an option as well.
Yeah.
For somebody that maybe they're a one-man show, one-woman show, they're on appointments, they're sealing deals, they're moving and shaking, they get the lead coming in, they're looking at their phone all nervous while they're on appointment, taking pictures of somebody's house with their 500 cats inside of it. Yeah. And somebody else will take that call for them.
100%. They've done a really good job in that way. We have a lot of lead buyers who are currently using them for those overnight hours and stuff. And a big benefit of them, too, is that they have someone on the team who speaks Spanish, typically. And so in Maricopa County, I'm sure this is a problem. You might get a Spanish speaker.
Sure.
And you guys don't know what to do if you don't have a Spanish speaker on your team. So that tends to help at least start the conversation off on the right foot.
Yeah. And here's the interesting thing that you have to really understand. 3 ways to get leads as a real estate entrepreneur, all right? You can wait to get referrals. right? You can build up a nice referral database of people that know, like, and trust you and have done business with you, and they send you those referrals. You can post every single day on your Facebook stories, and I highly encourage everybody to do this. I know that I sound like a broken record, but I'm telling you, it works, and it's free, and it's profitable. If you go into Facebook groups, go into the Facebook groups, type in your area in real estate, and friend request as many people in real estate, and post every single day to your stories, I buy houses, and put your phone number, you will do an extra few deals a year. Is it going to change your life forever? No. But listen, that's one way. You can wait and build referral and do a really good job there. You can go out like we've done for so long, and how I started out, you can go out and really earn it by being proactive and outbound, right? You get a list, you drive for dollars, you find ugly houses, you get a list of property owners that are in code violation or are going to inherit properties. You reach out to them, you initiate the conversation, you find an opportunity. Fantastic, right?
Yep.
A lot of effort, a lot of profitability. But I see with most businesses, Andy, and you can tell me what your experience has been, you get to that $250,000 mark a year. This is when you start getting the inbound leads. You start getting, and not to say, yeah. I like what you were saying about people that are part-time getting some leads in. For sure. At the nights and weekends and everything. But I'm talking about people that are full-time doing this thing. That after 250, you want those inbound. You want people to finally reach out to you. And because if you don't, to really grow big, you need to have a lot of virtual assistant callers or prospectors or people texting. And the bigger those campaigns get, the more expensive, the more leads that come in. In my experience, even in my own business, the more leads that come in, they hide the best leads. So now you've got things slipping through the cracks. I would rather get 10 leads, close one of them, than 100 leads and close 3 of them. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
And just keep the machine well oiled with less people that have more talent, and feed the people that have the more talent better leads that are coming in. And when people are saying, hey, listen, buy my house, you need less people and less overhead and less operations to be able to run that.
100%. And that's the big advantage of PPL and PPC, where you can have a much less complex operation, much more margin, much more streamlined, with all the complexity of VAs in the Philippines calling some list, or you having to call some list as well.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
How'd you get into this?
We started in the DMV, the DC, Maryland, Virginia. We originally, I worked in the Navy as a software engineer, civilian, not enlisted or as an officer, transitioned out of the Navy and into this game effectively. Really enjoyed SEO, really enjoyed, kind of building websites and stuff like that.
What's SEO?
SEO is search engine optimization. So it's basically the free section of Google where you're effectively trying to rank a website instead of trying to pay to get a website at the top. Mm-hmm. And so we spent a lot of time on that. And what's really cool about SEO is it's super, super high margin on a long time horizon. The issue is it's not super scalable and it's not very flexible. Mm-hmm. So if like tomorrow I need to get my business, I need to get 100 leads in a month, SEO is not my thing. That could take 12 months to get to that point.
Longer.
But for PPC, I can turn up the dial pretty quickly, and for PPL, I can turn up the dial pretty quickly as well.
Yeah. So what happens if there's a tremendous influx of people that are trying to buy in the same market?
Naturally the bid prices will push up, but we respond pretty actively to that, and
because that's the big. If you go into Facebook and see the posts on PPL. People are like, yeah, it used to be good. Yeah, it used to be great, but now it's too expensive.
Yeah, my immediate reaction to that is that's a reflection of that person's business.
Yes.
The cost of a lead is really just a reflection of how good that person's business is and how much they can spend on marketing dollars. Because if I have a really strong real estate business and I can close every possible deal, I have a perfectly defined sales process, I crush it on dispositions, I can spend whatever I want on leads compared to the guy who can only wholesale, closes 1 in 30, etc. So if you can't spend as much as the other guy in your market, that's a reflection of you, not the PPL company.
Love it. So you think that there's more capacity? Because there's only, let's be honest, there's only a certain amount of property owners that are going online, searching to sell their house fast, searching to get an offer on their house in a specific market that are going to go to these sites. I mean, is there only a specific pool that can be bought every month in specific markets? You know what I mean? Because I could see somebody come in that maybe they're just got a big business. Maybe they want to go national. Maybe they raised funds and they just want to buy all of your leads.
Yeah. So there's about 6,000 to 7,000 SEO leads at any given month generated in the U.S.
How many?
6,000 to 7,000, somewhere in that area. It varies.
6 to 7.
Yeah, and then about the same amount for PPC leads, separately from the SEO leads. And so that's about 14,000 search intent leads total across the whole U.S. in any given month of like real leads, not someone who's searching, home value type stuff.
Yeah.
And so if you take that out and you expand it and you say, okay, every person fills out 4 forms, let's say, so there's about 56,000 leads total roughly. There's probably about 50,000 real estate investors in the U.S. Mm-hmm. So that means one person gets one lead every single month. That you can't scale a business on that.
Right.
And so you have to use other marketing channels to really scale your marketing campaign, even if you're just doing within the scope of PPL. And so that's something that we focus on a lot, where it's, hey, how do we take other marketing channels, let's say it's YouTube, for example, and how do we really gear up the quality? Maybe we have to make them SMS opt-in. Maybe we have to have them, call in to us to actually become a qualified lead, et cetera. And how do we take that YouTube type lead and make it a lot better, a lot more like a PPC and SEO type lead? I don't know if that answers your question, but
so how big is that pool?
The pool gets a lot bigger. There's a lot more interrupt style marketing available out there, and I think if you look at the grand scope of things, there's probably about 100,000. What's
interrupt style?
Interrupt style would be like
Facebook ads,
like a Facebook ad, yeah.
YouTube ads.
Yeah, I'm scrolling on Facebook and I'm surprised. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can sell my house for cash. I had no idea. At the end of the day, there's probably about 100,000 distress sellers per month in the U.S. They're filling out forms in some form.
That's a great stat. A month?
Yeah, I think so. It's a really hard stat to organize, though, because how many
I get it.
For example, like if someone goes around the referral route, like how do I track that as a human? I can't tell if someone's getting referred to Brent to sell their house. So that's what we aim for on the lead generation side. I think the more you go above that, the lower the quality gets. Yeah. Et cetera.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
Whew, we are just going through a lot here. This is really cool. I mean, this is the future. This is what is really exciting about this. I mean, especially, listen, if you don't have a huge budget, maybe it takes you a couple months. Maybe it takes a few months to be able to get enough leads in that make sense. Maybe you play around. Maybe you go into some of these outskirt areas. You set your budget. You figure out who the buyers are in those markets, the 2 or 3 investors that want to add to their rental portfolio or fix and flip. You build a relationship with them. You find what they like. You turn on your efforts in those areas, and you find some deals that aren't in your major, where you live in your major markets. You know what I mean?
100%.
Like there's my mind is going so much right now, Andy, on like different techniques to test here.
Yep.
Because because you guys spend a bunch, you guys have a great team, you guys have a great experience with getting these SEO leads, and it seems like you keep growing and expanding and offering more and more. I mean, are there leads that you don't sell ever?
Is there
like a surplus sitting there that people are like, because there's some PPL companies that are like, listen, if these leads aren't bought, we'll sell them for $5 on the weekend or on a
That's a great question.
On a once a month sale when nobody bought these leads.
A good example of the leads that we don't sell, or we try to not we don't sell to the main pool of investors is leads that, let's say we got a YouTube lead, right? And we're like, hey, this isn't a great investor lead. Maybe they said that they want to sell in the market or something like that. We're going to strip that out. We're going to go send that to an agent company on maybe like a pay-per close type model. But that's a very small minority of what we do, and that's more to increase the lead quality of the overall pool.
Sure.
To drive up prices.
Sure. So there's no sales, there's no discounts, there's no $5 a day, $10 a day, because other companies do that.
No, yeah,
because you sell all of them.
We do sell all of the good leads from that perspective, and I think the other thing too.
I mean, even if they're like in Elephant's Breath, Wyoming or something, you're gonna sell that lead to somebody.
Yeah, it might be for $50, let's say, and we have a ton of people who buy leads in the $50 range.
What's the minimum? What's the maximum?
if someone's buying leads nationally, it starts at $50. If someone's buying leads at a county level, it starts at $125, and then on the state level, it starts at $75. We've got a ton of people, buying leads nationally at $50 a piece, and at $50 a piece, you could buy, 50 leads. That's a lot of leads. That's a lot of chances at a deal kind of thing for not very much. And
especially if
with
you're
the refund
inexperienced, because if you're really experienced and you got your systems dialed in, you're telling me and my team it should be you could be over time, not just since last Thursday, but over time, 1 to 10.
Yeah.
I mean, the stats show. Listen, I've got this. Andy put together a thesis here for Steve Trang's podcast, and I stole him away to do ours. So he's got all of these unbelievable stats. But you're telling me this is really interesting, guys, and really important. Title transfer rate. That means they actually sold their property. Somebody transferred. They signed the documents to transfer this property to somebody else. In 3 months, your leads that weren't refunded, 33% of them sell.
Yes.
In 6 months, 50% of them sell.
Yes.
Whether that's, and by the way, it's 50-50. Half of the ones that sell are to cash buyers, half of them are for conventional.
Yep.
So if you're smart, you partner with a real estate agent and say, hey, listen, you're on my team now. We're going to split this 50-50. If I have a license, you have to have your own license to get a referral fee. And you bring them on and you go, hey, listen, you take all these conventional ones.
Yep.
I'll take all these cash ones. And probably the conventional ones pay your whole marketing budget.
100%. And the other thing, too, that we got to look at there is
bananas.
All the investors who are doing, all the investors who are doing novations, right? We track those as if it was an on-market listing. I mean, a novation is basically just a net listing wrapped up in a different kind of bow.
Yeah.
But those are still really high profit transactions. Typically, they're not just like you're getting a quarter of 2% or whatever. So I would even argue that more than 25% or more than 50% actually end up going through an investor pocket.
Yeah.
But it's hard for us to track that with the novation aspect,
right?
Because novations aren't recorded anywhere.
Yeah, but I mean, even those stats are fantastic.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, like I love marketing, right? And we're here to provide a really good quality product. And the piece that we give to everybody who signs up is after 6 months, if you come back to us and you're like, hey, like these leads, like none of them, there's nothing here. Like I couldn't do anything with these leads. And we take a look at the title transfer report that Brent just mentioned, and we see the same thing. We're going to give you a huge credit. We're not going to hold on to your money because our goal is not to. Our goal is to provide a really good quality product. Our goal is not to kind of wishy-washy around. But often what ends up happening when we do that is we end up finding that the sales process or the disposition process that's occurring in the real estate investors system isn't as strong as it could be. Maybe they weren't triple dialing on the first phone call. Maybe they didn't know how to do novations.
Yeah.
Ton of potential issues there.
Got it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool.
Andy, guys, I'm telling you, this is game changing, especially to be able to turn on and turn off leads and do all this. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. So we've got a $250 credit for you guys for being awesome on the YouTube channel and the Wholesaling Inc. podcast. Go through ttpleads.com. That's our affiliate portal. And I'm gonna get Andy on here a bunch. I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna make you a regular on here to keep updated with this, because I think that this is really gonna revolutionize what we do. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people, starting out, getting the experience of having a quality conversation with a property owner, it's a whole lot easier having a good conversation if they actually want to sell their property.
100%. And that's the big part of it too, is we love to focus on the inbound stuff. The thing we want to always avoid with these conversations is, hey, well, you called me.
Yep.
What's my homework kind of stuff.
Yeah, sure.
Because if you're a beginner, that's a much harder sales objection to get over among the other sales
objections. Yeah, I have to train them to get over it. I know.
And so the barrier to entry is a lot lower on the inbound stuff, and so that's where we like to start with people.
But I also think you need to have some training on how to pre-qualify and have a quality conversation with a property owner.
Yeah.
So really tap into the Brent Daniels YouTube channel, really tap into this podcast. And I don't say that, I mean, obviously that's very self-serving of me, but On the same, it's if you understand that there's a procedure and a process for discovery and for understanding the condition, timeline, motivation, and price of all of these property owners, and really being able to effectively communicate with different personality types that we talk about all the time on the channel and all the time on the podcast, you're going to be more confident. And when you're more confident, you're going to call that number faster, and you're going to feel like a gunslinger when those leads come in. You're going to be like, oh, I'm all over this. You
100%.
know, you're going to open it up with great enthusiasm. You're going to have likability. You're going to have certainty, and you're going to get a lot more deals. And that's the only reason when I do a blueprint for any of the new Rhino Tribe members that join the Rhino Tribe, and we look at 4 factors: your budget, your schedule, your experience, and your market. And we decide, okay, is it right to do PPL? The one thing that I would say not to do PPL is if you have no experience, or you feel nervous talking to somebody about their property, or you feel like you have imposter syndrome or something like that, because you're just going to throw your money away.
Yeah.
And so, just understand and learn how to effectively have a conversation, do this discovery with it. Matched with PPL,
yeah.
Woo! I think
100%.
that's unstoppable. I mean, I'm getting like goosebumps because I think it's gonna help a tremendous amount of people out.
Good.
I told you that before. I'm like,
yep.
This is going to help so many people out. It's absolutely incredible. So,
yeah,
guys, ttpleads.com. Get the $250 there. I'll buy your first leads. How about that? There you go.
There you go.
Awesome.
Yeah. The thing I would leave with is or the other thing I would say is, when I first started getting into real estate investing, I found there was like 3 things you have to do. You have to do marketing, you have to do sales, you have to know how to run a business.
That's it.
And to learn starting from fresh, to learn 3 things at once is really, really, really hard. And if you can remove one of those 3 things, hey, give the marketing to PPL company, and then, hey, I'm going to get sales training from Brent Daniels, or I'm going to have a coach who's going to help me along the way, that kind of thing. And then all I have to do is just figure out how to put the pieces together, also known as running a business.
Mm-hmm.
Makes the process so much smoother. I have so many regrets from when I first started, and not buying PPL leads when I first started was one of my regrets.
And be around people doing this business.
For sure. 100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you're around people that are doing more than you, you're going to be elevated.
Yep.
When you're starting out in chapter 1 and they're in chapter 12 or chapter 23, they're going to pull you along faster.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. So
100%.
Andy, thanks for being on here. You're going to see a lot more, Andy.
Appreciate
I'm
it, man.
telling you, it's going to be absolutely incredible. The Rhino Tribe is already heavily involved with the PPL leads, and they're loving it.
Awesome.
And we are. I mean, I'm literally like opening up the budget. I told Jackie, $40,000 a month. Let's go.
Awesome.
And that only grows as long as it only grows.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about it.
Good.
Awesome.
Thank you,
Andy.
man. Appreciate the opportunity.
Guys, thank you for joining the Wholesaling Inc. podcast. If you are not subscribed to the Brent Daniels YouTube channel, definitely go there and subscribe. We go live twice a week to answer your questions. So I want to be a part of your life and your business and just answer your questions and celebrate your successes. So definitely check that out. And if you're interested in joining the Rhino Tribe, the most proactive group in real estate investing, go to wholesalinginc.com. Wholesalinginc.com. And for PPL leads, ttpleads.com. We'll see you next time, guys. I will end this podcast, as I always do, encouraging you to go talk to people. Love you guys. See you next time.